what I try to do in my life, I try to figure out what things bring me meaning. What are the good problems? It's very difficult to have a meaningful life and not be solving good problems. When you're doing things that give you meaning, investing, it's a good problem for me. As an investor, you're going to go through ups and downs, and you go through downs. Okay, it's impossible not to. When you go through the down times, you're going to be experiencing pain and everything, but I would not trade it for anything. I read this quote by Barron that really made me think. I've been thinking about this quote for a long time. And Barron said, "The first 40 years of life is just an experiment. It's just an experiment."
Right.
It's sounds like this. I'm probably murdering the quote, and I think what happens is this: in the first 40 years of your life, your understanding of time is completely, kind of screwed up. Because when you are 10 years old, this 10 years seems like it's been infinite, and you still
Mhm.
have another 7 or 10 times more, 1 or 9 times more ahead of you. When you get to 40, suddenly you realize, oh, this is what 40 years feels like.
Mhm.
And I only have maybe another 40 if I'm lucky. Okay.
Yeah.
And suddenly you start valuing time so much more.
Mhm.
And suddenly you start thinking about, am I spending my time wisely? And and now I'm speaking for myself and start to think, how can I buy time? And what I mean by this, I'm not talking about living longer, but I'm talking about how can I spend my days more wisely and
Right.
doing things that are meaningful to me. And by the way, we buy time all the time. So the money buys time. By the way, every single one who is listening to this podcast or viewing it is doing it every day. Every time you go in out to a restaurant,
Yeah.
you're buying time. You're not just buying food, because you can go to grocery store, buy the food and cook it yourself.
Mhm.
But you're actually buying time. And that's the
Mhm.
time you are saving from not cooking. So we're doing it all the time. So what I try to do in my life, I try to figure out how can I, what things bring me meaning? What are the good problems?
Mhm.
And let me talk about good problems, for a second. So good problems for me, it's very difficult to have a meaningful life and not be solving good problems. Good problems, and they're problems, but they're also good because when you're doing things that give you meaning, a lot of times, like investing, it's a good problem for me.
Mhm.
But you, like, as an investor, you're gonna go through ups and downs, and you
Mhm.
go through downs. Okay, it's impossible not to. So, and when you go through the down times, you're gonna be experiencing pain and everything. But I would not trade it for anything. Being a parent is another good problem for me. Kids bring you a lot of joy and a lot of pain. Okay, so like writing, I love writing, but I cannot tell you how many times I would be still, like, there were times where for weeks I've been staring at the computer and I had nothing.
Mhm.
See, I tell myself that, you know, something will show up at some point because I had a history of that, where I went through this before, but it's still painful. So the point I'm trying to make, those are good problems, and this is
Mhm.
the good problems I want to be solving. I can also be mowing alone, or I could be cooking. None of those things bring me joy or get any meaning out of them. So I use money to buy time, so I don't have to. So somebody else is doing that. So now that means also that I have to make other adjustments. And I don't want to get too personal, but in my case, that also meant that we lived in the same house for 20 years. We would buy we would in the past would always buy used cars. So the money we saved from, kind of from mortgage payment or uh, interest payments on our cars, that's the money I was able to use to buy time. So that's kind of that's kind of my relationship with money. The way I look at money is, and I spend a lot of time thinking about how to de-emphasize the importance of money in my life. By the way,
Mhm.
this is the money guy say talking, and people are discounted. Um, but I really the way I look at money is basically, if you have a unlimited amount of water, it's not going to make you any happier.
Right.
Okay. If you are dying of thirst, it's going to be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily symmetrical. Having more does not, having not enough, so you can, so you're thirsty, that's one thing. Having a lot of it is not, like in my case, is not going to make me happier. So money, and this probably I have to thank my parents for this, it's never been very important to me. Again, this is a value investor who is
Mm-hmm.
analyzing stocks all the time, who's trying to uncover undervalued investments. But to me, it's puzzle that I love it. It's almost like if you are a sculptor and you work with the rock or whatever, you don't have to fall in love with the rock. You may love the process, but you don't. So just the same thing. Just because the medium of what you and I use is money doesn't mean that I love is money. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you want to learn more about life, classical music, philosophy, and investing, make sure to subscribe to my articles and visit investor.fm. Thank you.